Welcome back into the live desk. My name is Janae Hancock. A report was released this month from USA Today ranking states with the worst pothole problems, and Missouri falls on that list. And I'm sure that's why you all clicked on this live stream. Joining us now is Nick Van Zant with USA Today. Nick, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk and really break down this research for us. Where does Missouri fall on the list right now?
So Missouri, we found, has one of the biggest pothole problems in the nation. We found that Missouri ranks 14th out of 50 states when we look at problematic potholes and specifically the problems that people are having with potholes. How we did this is we essentially looked at Google Search Analytics because there's not a nationwide database as to how many potholes are in any different location. So we basically looked at how concerned people are in a given area with potholes. And what we found is that Missouri as a state ranks 14th. When we look at cities, we found that Kansas City, Kansas, and we considered Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri as the same metro area. We found that Kansas City has one of the biggest pothole problems nationwide. Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri as a city ranks 10th. So overall, your area has a pretty big problem with potholes.
You know, Nick, that is hard to hear, but it is not unbelievable as we see here in this video, just potholes across the metro. And I know we had a wide span of winter weather last month during the month of January, but really, what can people do to reduce the risk of damage to their cars right now?
So some of the best things that you can do is reduce your speed as much as you can. There's obviously going to be circumstances on the roadway where you can't avoid it. And if that's going to happen, try to reduce your speed as much as you can. Also try to have your wheels as straight as you can get them. Other big things that you can do, stay alert. It's not going to be possible to see every single one, but if you can stay alert and you can just anticipate a little bit, that can really reduce it. Because a lot of times what we found is that if somebody hits a pothole once, they're more likely to hit that same pothole again and damage their cars. We all kind of know those big traps on our usual commutes to and from work, to and from the places that we need to go. And so just try to stay alert as much as possible. Also, be cautious when we're talking about having water on the roadway. When these pothole forms, you've got moisture that's on the ground. It seeps into the ground, it freezes, it expands. So if you know that you just had a snow or an ice storm or anything like that, that is when you're going to see an increase in potholes. So be extra alert in those kind of circumstances. You can stay on top of your vehicle maintenance, especially your tires. If you have underinflated or worn tires, those are more vulnerable to pothole damage. And also be on the lookout for any changes with your vehicle. If you hit a pothole, I think we all have that moment where like, oh man, how much is this going to cost me? But if you hit one, listen for anything that's driving different, listen for any noises that are different, and then get it taken care of as quickly as you can.
I think you touch on a good point there. I'm reading comments that are coming in, people mentioning where they've seen the biggest potholes, and you also talk about going on your normal routine. I have avoided potholes because it's like I hit them, and I'm like, okay, so tomorrow I know not to get in that lane and to kind of move over. Now, how much are repairs nowadays? I know prices are going up everywhere. So, what are people going to be paying if they go in with significant damage?
It can be a lot. It can really be a lot. When we look at the average, a few years ago was about $300. Now the average is over $400. So we've actually seen the number of pothole repairs go up by about 57% in just the last couple of days. So most of that damage is going to be around $400, but this can get really expensive because you can be talking about damaging your alignment, damaging the frame if you really, really hit a big one. So it can be costly. And what is difficult about it is that when you look at the average cost is less than the average cost of most people's deductible when they look at their insurance. And so it's something that you're likely going to be paying out of pocket for, which is, I think, one of the reasons we all have such a problem with potholes is like, oh, what did I do and how much is this is going to cost you? It's just a frustrating experience. One of the best things that people can do is really look at your collision coverage. Collision coverage is going to be the thing that dictates whether or not it's going to be covered by your insurance company. So check your collision coverage and then look at what your deductible is. In some cases, it might just be cheaper for you to eat it and you're going to have to just pay it out of pocket. So that's a determination you're really going to have to work with insurance and find out.
And you touch on a good point there, the fact that this is a frustrating experience because it's not the driver's fault most of the times, especially if it's at nighttime, like you said. You're just kind of driving and then you hit a pothole, and the first thing you say is, oh my gosh, how much is that going to cost? So now is the time to prepare, is that right? Because I know we will be dealing with some warm weather in the coming weeks, looking ahead to springtime. So now that the winter weather is hopefully behind us, should people be heading to those repair shops now?
Yeah, this is the problem. This is the bad time when we talk about potholes, right as we get kind of in that mix of winter slash spring weather when it's warming and cooling and raining and freezing and snowing, right as you're in that period, really late February, early March, even into April sometimes, that is where we are going to see the biggest problems with potholes. And when we look at it, when we look at the states that have the biggest problems, it is in those types of areas where you're going to see that warming and freezing, like Missouri.
Perfect. Next, is there anything else you would like to add before I let you go? I know we're getting a lot of comments coming in on our social media platforms right now. I'll have to circle back and answer a few, but is there anything else that you would like to touch on?
I think the two things is always look at it like shop around when you're looking for insurance. When we look for insurance and we look at the different prices that different carriers are charging for insurance, you can see massive differences. In some cases, $2,000 to even $5,000 between what one insurance company is going to charge you versus what another insurance company is going to charge you for the exact same thing. So shopping around, that can really save you money. And it's not a bad idea. You can, in some cases, I'll say that one more time, some cases you can get restitution from the jurisdiction that is managing the roadway. And sometimes they will actually compensate you for that. So it's not a bad idea to look into filing a report with the city or the county or the state, and also report it. If you see a pothole, report it, because not only might you be saving somebody else from hitting it, but you might be saving yourself from hitting it again. And a lot of times what we find is that jurisdictions and different road departments, they really do try to keep a hold of them. It's just that this is the time of year where they are just popping up left and right.
Some great information and some great advice. When you say report the potholes, we'll add this to our web story a little bit later today on our website. But Johnson County, the number you can call there is 913-715-8300. So again, we will add that number to our website as well as other places where you can report the potholes that you encounter. So Nick, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. I truly appreciate it, and we'll have to have you back on here at the live desk here soon. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.